Okay, so first topic must be space technology. Did you see any questions in regard to space technology in the last prelims, Bhuvani? Okay. Actually, you might have heard about GPS systems, right? What do you mean GPS system? No, it is a global positioning system. It's a navigation system that pertain to USA. US. So in the same way, we have Indian government is having its own navigation system. Do you know that? Tirukumara? Yeah, you're correct. NAVIC, IRNSS, Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System, right? So GPS system of India can be called as NAVIC. IRNSS. Visible? Fine. Okay, so IRNSS. So in this is called GPS, global positioning system. So group of satellites that are arranged group. So here you listen the definitional context. Group of geostationary satellites that are arranged in certain combination, certain model system, model arrangement in which certain satellites are arranged so as to uncover, so as to circumscribe the totality of Earth from the altitudinal extent of exceeding 35,000 kilometers, nearly 36,000 kilometers. So where a system of satellites are arranged so as to uncover the totality of Earth. Now, if you take any geostationary satellite, geostationary in the sense we want to know about the description, we want to know about the complete meaning of geostationary and the geosynchronous. So that we are going to discuss in a detailed manner in the forthcoming topics or forthcoming PPTs today. So it would be a satellite system that is placed at the altitudinal extent of around 36,000 kilometers, right? Called geostationary orbit. So where the satellite system would be placed, generally navigation satellite system, Earth observation satellite system, remote sensing satellite system, weather observation satellite systems, all these satellite systems would be placed probably at the altitudinal extent of 36,000 kilometers. Now that orbit is called geostationary orbit, whereby the rate of velocity of satellite would be matching with the rate at which Earth rotates on its axis. That is what relationship between geostationary orbit and the rotation of the Earth. Now, these technologies must be accrued out of space technology. No, that is what our job. So this is a way we want to go through the interpretation of this topic of discussion, right? So that we will go ahead again. So space technology. So this the topic space technology accommodates orbits. No, orbits. So types of orbit: low Earth orbit, middle Earth orbit or medium Earth orbit, high Earth orbit, lunar orbit, polar sun synchronous orbit, or polar orbit, no, geotransfer orbit, many number of orbits that can be found, in the space around the Earth, right? So these orbits, their interpretation, their meaning, their exact definition must be discussed in this case, right? So the second subtopic must be satellites, satellite systems. So what do you mean satellite? What are the various types of satellites that are circumscribing the totality of Earth? So Earth revolve பண்ணக்கூடிய satellites என்னென்ன அப்படின்றத நம்ம படிப்போம். So can you name, on the basis of applicability, can you name some of the satellites? So if you take the GPS system, GPS satellite system or NAVIC satellite, it is used for to locate the things, locate, animate and inanimate objects that can be found over the globe. In the present day context, whether you know or not, the technology is inflated to the extent in which you can, if you want to visit a restaurant, or if you want to visit VRR mall, you want to go to VRR mall where you want to take a ticket for one movie, one video, where you want to take ticket. So you want to know about how rush it is, how busy the mall is, how much people who are agglomerated within the mall, all can be studied, all can be viewed through Google Maps, this technology, so we are going to that level. So this is a way, global positioning system is used, where if you locate, you can locate even Chinmaya IAS Academy from anywhere in the globe. Whether Thirukumaran is in the class or out of the class, or attending or not attending, listening or not listening, everything can be viewed, and you cannot escape, So Archana escape ஆக முடியாது. ரூம் பார்க்க போனேன், இந்த ரூம் சரியில்லை, அதனால நான் ஃபுல்லா ரூம் பார்க்கணும் நான் அப்படின்னு தான், you cannot escape, So the மாதிரி satellites. Can you name some of the satellites on the basis of its applicability in a layman language? Some satellites which are used for education, then you can call the satellite as education satellites. Some satellites which are used to assess the resource availability over oceanic areas or seas, border seas. So then you can call the satellite system as ocean sat. Correct? Purida Snega. Yeah, orange way உட்காந்துட்டீங்க. So resource availability, fish promising areas. Fish, if you want to go for fishing, where you want to locate the fish promising areas, right? So that can be assessed through some satellite technology called called OceanSat. OceanSats, resource assessment. Resource assessment in the sense forest resource assessment, soil resource assessment, agricultural crop resource assessment, food resource assessment, cattle, livestock resource assessment, human resource assessment. All resource assessment can be carried out through a satellite system called resource satellite. Remote sensing satellite. Have you ever heard about remote sensing satellite? Remote sensing, you know or not? What do you mean remote sensing satellite, Sanjay? Remote in the sense the region or the place which cannot be accessed by human being. Am I right? So if one body, you might have heard about suicidal point in Kodaikanal. Have you ever heard about that point? Have you seen any of the historical events that had occurred, recent events that had occurred over suicidal point? Have you seen such a videos or something, some tragic videos? Not share. No, Bayandru sir. Patrikingla, the videos. Enna Thirukumar. Height evlo irukum? What would be the altitudinal extent of suicidal point in Kodaikanal? You never tried. 1 kilometer altitude, I think. More than that, 2 kilometers. Kodaikanal hill, no, Palani hill is not exceeding 1.5 kilometers. Kodaikanal. 2,200 kilometers in the sense where the temperature would 2,200 meters. The sense it is not that much cooler like Ooty. Although height are right. So no, nearly let it be 1.5 kilometer. So where no people will jump. So right, so you want to identify where the body is. No, remote sensing where you cannot access. Right, access panna, you have to go Theni district, from where you have to penetrate into this region. No? So this kind of where in the remote areas, on the border areas, you might have heard about some of the passes like Khyber Pass, Komal Pass, Bolan Pass. History la padichirpinga illaya kaarte malum naimala Khyber passes that can be found over northwestern India. Theriyunga Sanjay? Pass na malum pass. It is a gap that can be found in the continuity of mountain through which human being can crisscross. Adu valiya neenga oru edathila irundha innoru edathukku polam. Pass. So passes. So northwestern India, northern sector, northwestern India through which ISS agents, some outfits, some Naxalism, some anti-social elements who are having the tendency to penetrate across those passes. No, those those transmigration of such elements would be identified through a satellite system called remote sensing satellites. Now, where you don't require to be in that locality manually. No, rather you can access the entirety of northwestern India, through satellite technology called remote sensing satellites. If you want to assess the water resource availability, soil resource availability, and the forest resource availability over Ladakh region, over some of the regions of Jammu and Kashmir, water resource potential of Jammu and Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh, Purvanchal region, there you can find no highly inaccessible, rugged terrain that can be found over northeastern states. No, those regions can be accessed where whatever the resource assessment you want to carry out, that can be carried out over northeastern India, northern India, especially in the higher elevations of Himalaya, all can be carried out without your presence, no, by satellite technology called remote sensing satellite technology. So where you have to study a lot, you have to learn a lot as far as that technology is concerned. So go into Google and find out the total aspects of remote sensing technology today, right? So this is a satellite, called a remote sensing satellite. For which purpose the satellite is used? On that mode we used to categorize those satellites, remote sensing satellites. Some of the satellites that are used for communication. So you are having advanced Android mobile communication that would be implemented, that would be carried out through satellite technology, communication satellite. Communication satellite would be placed at which orbit? Low Earth orbit or medium Earth orbit or geostationary orbit or lunar orbit? Which orbit the communication satellite will be placed? That is what we want to know. Which orbit remote sensing satellite would be placed? No. So this is what the idea we want to gain out of satellites as well as orbits, right? So then, if you want to place a satellite at one particular position, whether it is low Earth orbit or polar orbit or medium Earth orbit or high Earth orbit, where you need a launch vehicle, right? You need a vehicle to carry the satellite, carry such a total weight of total tonnage of the satellite, and would be placed in an appropriate orbit, for which you need a vehicle, no? Vehicle no? So what do you call the vehicle as? Launch vehicles, no? So then we want to discuss about launch vehicle technology. Launch vehicle technology. Now the third part must be, so launch vehicle technology. So it is a launch vehicle that is used to launch satellite. So it is satellite launch vehicle technology, right? Satellite launch vehicles technology. The first launch vehicle, SLV-3. So satellite launch vehicle technology. Then it is transformed over a period of time, technologically upgraded, so as to become ASLV. Then over a period of time, it is again technologically undergone certain paradigm shift as well as evolution and the technological innovation it incorporated. And over a period of time, augmented satellite launch vehicle technology transformed into PSLV, Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle technology. Even in the Chandrayaan project, we used this technology, Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle technology. So, so over a period of time, again, the technology had undergone tremendous change, tremendous revolutionary changes, and transformed into GSLV technology. GSLV technology. Aditi, are you listening?
Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir.
So GSLV technology. So GSLV technology, where we use Mark 1 or Mach Mac 1, Mac 2, present day context we are using Mac 3. Then what do you mean Mac? That must be known. This is what the technique, this is what the learning that should go on while going through science and technology. So what advancement we inculcated within ASLV technology in comparison with the SLV, that we must know. What advanced technological methodology that is being incorporated within PSLV technology when we compare with the ASLV, that must be known. What technological improvement that was carried out, that is carried out within GSLV technology when we compare with the PSLV. So when you come to GSLV, you should have known about the technical. We have attained almost a culmination level of launching the satellites. Launch as far as launch vehicle technology, we have almost attained the culmination stage. Where we accommodated the technology called cryogenic technology. So that is what we want to know. What do you mean cryogenic technology? What do you mean cryosphere? What do you mean semi-cryogenic in the present day context? We are again still more advanced as far as inculcating the technology of semi-cryogenic technology. Then what do you mean cryogenic technology? What do you mean semi-cryogenic technology? Can you tell me?
Technology this propulsion is from liquid to liquid, whereas in semi-cryogenic it's from solid to liquid.
Aditi, do you know what do you mean cryogenic technology?
No, sir, but I did hear an explanation that was made. I think someone just answered.
What do you mean cryogenic technology?
No idea, sir.
Sanjay, mechanical engineer. What do you mean cryogenic technology? Cryo preservation. What do you mean cryo preservation? Preservation. What do you mean? Cryo preservation. Freezing. Freezing at which temperature? Freezing at the temperature where nitrogen liquefies. Nitrogen almost some of the things, some of the plant specimens, some of semen, some of the things which are having totipotent characteristics. Have you ever heard about the term totipotent? So whatever the genetic material or genetic resources or seed, some of the gem, that is what called gem, genetic material that would be preserved without debilitating the totipotent characteristics of that genetic material, that would be preserved at within the liquefied nitrogen. So listen, here we are going with the artificial insemination. Have you ever heard about artificial insemination? Artificial insemination na enna Sanjay?
That is breeding by using scientific methods.
Yeah. Aditi, no, Karthi, what do you mean artificial insemination? Artificial insemination. Ennaga Thirukumara. Seminal. Seminal. Uh, Can you name some of hybrid milk breeds that can be found in India? Milching cows. Jersey. Jersey. Enna Bhuvadi. Nama? Oh. Holstein. Holstein. Friesian. Have you ever heard about the term Friesian? Friesian. Swiss brown. Swiss brown. These are all hybrid milk breeds that can be found over one particular climatic regime, you know, Thiringla. So what climatic regime these milk breeds are abundantly found, prominently found. That's why, you know, the people, those who are living under this climatic region, they are primary, the most important economic activity is dairy farming. People, those who are living in which climatic regime are carrying out dairy farming as their most important economic activity, other than fishing. We studied about climatic regions now. We not yet reached that level. No. So can you tell me the climatic regime that can be found in between 45 and 65-degree north latitudinal extent on the western margin of the continents? No. So have you ever heard about the climatic type called British type? British type? Sanjay? British type? Britain malum? Britain? Northwest Europe? No? Aravind? Where Germany, Poland, Finland, Norway, Sweden, UK, all these regions, you know, that can be found in between 45-degree north latitude and 65-degree north latitude, 45-degree south latitude and 65-degree south latitude. On the western margin of the continent, you can find British type climate. So where the milk breeds are all their origin, their provenance, you know, their biotic origin can be found in this climatic region. All the hybrid milk breeds are a descendant of this climatic region. Keep in mind, you know, that's why they are, you know, involving that they are prime, you know, the most potent economic activity, no, most primary economic activity, predominant mode of economic activity that pervades within British type climate must be dairy farming, commercial dairy farming. No, where because more milk breeds. No, you want to create it as a India, as a tropical nation, you want to create Jersey hybrid. So with the use of the parental country cow, you know, by using your teacup cow, You want to produce jersey. What do? You have to go with the artificial insemination. Whatever the semens collected from these hybrid breeds, that would be inseminated to this country breeds that can be found in the tropical nation. That is what called artificial insemination. That is seminal vesicles would be transported through cryopreservation technology, where nitrogen liquid is used for preserving the totipotent characteristics of any genetic resources without debilitating the characteristics of that material. No, that is what cryopreservation. Then what do you mean cryogenic technology? What do you mean cryosphere? Another one term. These are all the fundamental terms. You must know the meaning of these terms. Aditi, are you getting cryosphere? What do you mean cryosphere? Krishna? Biosphere, atmosphere, lithosphere. We have known many spheres. You know whether you know cryosphere or not. Cryo in the sense low temperature. The region which is found in sub-zero temperature. What are those regions on the earth? Antarctic continent, tundra, northern tundra, and the Arctic region. All these regions which are inundated with a permanent snow cover. All these periglacial environment where the temperature throughout the year temperature remains sub-zero. All these regions come under the sphere of cryosphere. You know or not, Bhubadi? Keep in mind. No, cryosphere. Right? So then now tell me, what do you mean cryogenic? Cryogenic engine which should function, which should work at the temperature of minus 253 degrees centigrade. At that temperature, hydrogen remains in liquid form. Hydrogen remains in liquid form at the temperature of minus 253 degrees centigrade. At that temperature, the engine functions. That is what called cryogenic engine. Engine which functions, which works at the temperature of sub-zero, called cryogenic engine. The technology which is inculcated in the launch vehicle, called cryogenic engine technology, where in order to burn the hydrogen, you have to add some oxidizer. What is that oxidizer? Without oxygen, nothing can be burned, no? Amava Krishna? No. Then you have to add up some oxidizer. Liquid oxygen would be added up as an oxidizer. So oxygen liquefied at the temperature of oxygen liquefies at the temperature of minus 193 degrees centigrade. So at that temperature, at that lowest temperature must be created within the rocket, so that these two components would be in the form of, would remain in the form of liquid. At that temperature, the engine works. Then the technology is called cryogenic technology. One among the most efficient technology that you ever found in the globe in the present era. Then what do you mean semi-cryogenic technology? Aditi, what do you mean semi-cryogenic technology?
So maybe it combines the cold properties that are needed with some sort of
semi-cryogenic technology in the sense where one fuel would be used in liquid state as it is at the room temperature. It remains in liquid, called liquid kerosene. A liquid kerosene or white petrol. why petrol would be used as a fuel instead of liquid hydrogen, and oxidizer, liquid oxygen would be used as an oxidizer. So where liquid oxygen would be in the temperature of minus 193 degrees centigrade, but kerosene would be in the temperature of liquid state at room temperature. So it is called semi-cryogenic. Clear? So it is the most efficient, more efficient technology than cryogenic technology. It's a pulling power. Its payload capacity is far more greater than the cryogenic technology. Understand my point? So these two must be known. Just to Google, you understand what is what. Seriya Bhubadi? So what is cryogenic? What is semi-cryogenic? Clear? Can you move ahead? No? So then, we finished about orbits. We talked about satellites. We talked about launch vehicle technology. So you might have heard about a term called ISS, in space technology. Yeah. So International Space Station. So what do you mean?
Actually, space where astronauts stay and they do an on space and various objects in space.
Super. No, 1 year, no. I think 2021, there was a question called, what do you mean Kessler syndrome? Have you heard about that question? Two things. The aspirant, as an IAS aspirant, you have to accomplish two things. One thing, every day, at least once, you read out your syllabus, both the mains as well as prelims. Clear? Over a period of time, if I ask you internal security, you should be in a state to express all the total syllabus that are accommodated within internal security. To that level, you should have elevated. So syllabus on repeated read pannunga. You should have syllabus in hand. You are not having, you collect the syllabus from our office. So you should have syllabus. You keep going, keep revising, keep reading. And the second thing, you should go through the previous year question papers, both for prelims as well as mains. That booklet, that is strategist, you should have. Right, Imla? So if you take science and technology, you take the entirety of science and technology for past 10 years, both for prelims as well as mains. புரியுதுங்களா செஞ்சு? இந்த ரெண்டு ஒர்க் பண்ணு. என்ன சொன்னீங்க? These two works, you should do. So International Space Station. So it is a living environment found hardly at the altitudinal extent of around 160 kilometers. So where you can go tour very often. So in order to, as like Krishnan said, in order to know about the space environment, in order to carry out some research and development over space environment, In order to know about how our body physiological physiological system function at that altitudinal extent. So how our body functions. So what some whether obnoxious condition or some conducive condition, whatever the condition, our body physiological system faced with, all would be assessed through, by staying over this International Space Station for sufficient period of time by group of astronauts. So that is what the purpose, International Space Station is arranged, by synchronizing around 22 to 24. Now 22 satellites are functioning, and this is an initiation that was carried out by NASA of USA, and the later point of time, Roscosmos of Russia, European Space Agency of Europe, Canadian Space Agency of Canada, JAXA of Japan, all becomes part and parcel over a period of time. With their synergic effort, the International Space Station was carved out at the altitudinal extent of approximately 160 kilometers from sea level. So this is what you want to know. So this program, this project was launched in the year of 1998. And this space station would be defunctioned in the year of 2031 by NASA. Until that it works. So in precedent to that, if possible, you can have a visit at least once. Snega. நீங்க புரியுதுங்களா நான் பேசுறது என்ன அக்ஷயா? இங்கிலீஷ்லயே பேசிக்கிட்டு இருக்காரு அப்படித்தானே யோசிக்கிறீங்க? கொஞ்சம் நமக்கு டிஸ்கனெக்ஷன் ஆகி போயிடுது இல்லையா? ஃபுல்லா இங்கிலீஷ்லயே பேசுறேன். என்ன சொன்னீங்க? So Aditi, getting my points or not? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes,
whatever
sir.
I speak in Tamil, you don't bother about that, right?
Yes, sir.
Because here, many people are pure Tamilian, Chentamilian, So
Yes.
all are Chentamil people.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. This is what the content, you should know about in space technology. புரியுதுங்களா? So apart from that, we have nuclear technology, we have defense technology, nanotechnology, robot technology, energy technology, biotechnology. So many technologies are there. Totally all can be brought under 7 sessions. 7 session I will appear for this class. For prelims, I will come more than 7. So, 7 topic, so 7 you have to explore individually, so to the fullest capacity, right? So we can move on to the topic now. Nanya சிரிக்கிறீங்க? this technology. Here we start from what is an orbit. Is an orbit. When you okay. So when you go into nucleus, around which you can find the orbit of electrons, am I right? So when you go into the atomicity, where something is revolving around a focal point, right? So that level of that microscopic level of system, level of rotation, level of revolution, that is applicable even to the universe. There, when you go into our solar system, so all of our planets are revolving around a focal point called sun. Am I right? No. So they are following an orbital path. It is a trajectory path through which a celestial body or a man-made body, which revolves. It is a trajectory path. That is what the technical term. No, it is a path. It is a repeated path through which so some objects, man-made or natural, are revolving around a focal point. Then the path traversed by that object is called an orbit. Orbit, right? So here, sun is having the orbital paths of various planets, and the entire solar system is revolving around a focal point. What is that focal point? So one focal point about which our entire solar system is revolving. What is that focal point, Aravind? No, our own galaxy. What is that? What is our own galaxy? It is a Milky Way. Milky Way. So around which the entirety of solar system are revolving. So the entire Milky Way as a constellation, as a galaxy revolving around a focal point. What is that focal point? What is that focal point? He used the term black hole. Enna Sanjeev? Jay Chandra Bhubadi, right? Bhubadi. There is an object, around which the entire Milky Way revolves. That is what called nebulae. Nebulae, right? So this is a way, we can go into bigger and bigger dimension, where you cannot imagine. If you take a needle, that is used for stitching the kanni bags, The சாக்கு பை தைக்கிறதுக்கு ஒண்ணு பயன்படுத்துவாங்க இல்லைங்களாங்க? அது என்ன சொல்லுவீங்க? கோணி ஊசி மாலும் நை மாலும் என்ன சோகமாயிடும். So if you take that needle, no, the tip of the needle is comparable with our solar system. When you compare the entire universe, size of the universe, the size of our galaxy, when you compare our size, the entire needle can be compared with the volume of our galaxy, within which our solar system is a mere point, mere dust. It is a tip that can be found on the Koni Usiyoda or tip. So our solar system. Right? So this is a way everything is revolving, everything is following a regular, repeated trajectory path called orbit. Clear? So that is what called orbit. Other than orbit of being. So Aditi, visible now? So orbit.
Yes, sir. Yes,
now
sir.
go through that. Right. So this orbit, no, maybe generally orbit might be in elliptical path or near elliptical path. Near elliptical. Never be in circular. It will never be in circular. Circle must be like this, right? So ellipse, it must be in this fashion, right? So what do you call the center of ellipse as? So it is the center of circle. No. So from where if you measure anywhere, it would be having constant distance called radius. But where do you put the center for elliptical orbit? Engiki center. So elliptical orbit will always have focus, nodal point, focus. So where we never go with the center, right? They extend in which the circle, this circle, which gets distorted, to some extent, then it is transformed into elliptical orbit. The level to which the circle is distorted so as to form elliptical orbit, that is called eccentricity. Eccentricity. These are all the terms that are involving in orbit. So to what quantum, what extent a circular orbit gets distorted, then it is called the eccentricity. So that is what given here. Right? So elliptical or all planetary systems are revolving the sun, in an elliptical orbit. Then all solar system as a whole is revolving around the Milky Way in an elliptical orbit. The entirety of Milky Way, the system of Milky Way, is revolving around the nebula in an elliptical orbit. Right? All these trajectory paths are in elliptical orbit. Right? So one definite path, if you take Earth would be in the definite path around the sun, and Moon is revolving around the Earth in a defined path. repeated path, a trajectory path in a definite orbit. So it doesn't be changed even if you go past, So geological past, since its origin and the evolution of Earth and the entire solar system itself, since that time, everything would be in a revolving around in a systematic way, regular way, rhythmic way. So no change. So that would be kept everything in a system, in a regular orbit. Why? Because of universal law of gravitation. You must know this concept. What do you mean universal law of gravitation? What do you mean universal law of gravitation? Ananya? What do you mean it? What do you mean? Nabuvali? Universal law of gravity. If you take Dharmaburi district, which is located in the midway between Bangalore and Chennai. Some people used to go to Bangalore so as to pursue career, pursue study, pursue higher education, purchase some ornamental goods, purchase some silk dhotis and saris. Silk board available. Silk board அங்கதானே பெங்களூர் சில்க் போர்டு தெரியுமா தெரியாதா? நாங்க ஊர்ல கல்யாணம் வந்தா எங்க போய் சில்க் எடுப்பாங்க? ஊர்லன்னு சொன்னேன், நீங்க பயந்துராதுங்க. காஞ்சிபுரம் போவாங்க, காஞ்சிபுரம், ஆரணி, காஞ்சிபுரம். இந்த வாரணாசி வெரி ஃபேமஸ் ஃபார் சில்க் ப்ரொடக்ஷன், லொகேட்டட் இன் யூபி. அங்கேக்கு போறாங்களா? தெரியாது. So some people used to come for both these in Chennai for taking silk. Something, some attractive pull the Chennai center is exerting on the population who are inhabiting over Krishnagiri. Amava? இருக்குதுங்களா? வசீகரிக்குதா? இங்க எதுக்கு சென்னைக்கு வந்தீங்க? எதுக்கு வந்தீங்க ஸ்னேகா? படிக்க வந்தீங்க. So it is a service that is offered by Chennai city. Because of that service, it attracts, it exerts some pull on Snega. Native weather? Trichy. Trichyக்குள்ள போய் திருச்சியில இல்லாத சென்டரா? எவ்வளவு பெரிய சென்டர்ஸ் எல்லாம் இருக்கா இல்லையா? UPSC சென்டர் என்ன? அவங்க TNPSC இல்ல, என்ன UPSC எடுக்கிறாங்களா? இப்ப மாத்திக்கிட்டாங்க. ரைட். So exerting pull, if you take anything, any object, that can be found over the globe would be attracted themselves, exerting some pull. If you, if you stand close with each other, if you bring close with each other, they are attracting themselves, or not? So everybody is having some attractive pull. Over a period of time, ரெண்டு பேரு சேர்ந்து படிச்சுக்கிட்டே இருப்பாங்க. over a period of time அங்க ஒரு attractive pull ஆயிடும். அது நமக்கு முதல்ல தெரியும் as an experienced faculty. So we might have known. ஆமாவா அரவிந்தன்? So அதனால கொஞ்சம் distance, if you maintain some distance, it would be safe for everyone. So attraction, so that is a universal law. There is an attractive pull that can be found in between two masses. So that pulling force would be directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. எல்லாம் போச்சு. என்ன அனன்யா? So you எல்லாமே போச்சு. So let me explain you, right? So listen. If you take moon and earth, two celestial bodies. So the force of attraction between these two celestial bodies, it is having the mass greater m, it is having the mass small m. Then the force of attraction between these two celestial bodies must be directly proportionate with the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. If you take this distance between two celestial bodies as R, இந்த law தெரியுங்களா? எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கு பாருங்க. தெரியுமா? This law, அனன்யா தெரியுமா? This is what called, எப்பவுமே தெரியும், this law, universal law of gravitation. This is what called a universal law of gravitation. If you take our satellite, man-made satellite and Earth, it is in the regular orbit. Why? Because they are following those two systems are following this law. The law அது follow பண்ணது. That's why it is following a regular orbit. நம்மள மாதிரி இல்ல. They are following regular orbit. ரைட்டுங்களா? So keep in mind, this is what called the universal law of gravitation. You just take a note of this term and வச்சுக்கோங்க. So universal law of gravitation. Gravitation. ரைட்டுங்களா? So இது தெரியணும். Then we can move further. So because of the momentum, something now it is in orbit that we will go again. So listen, the types of orbit. Visible, not visible. Low Earth orbit. So let me write and explain. Low Earth orbit, this one. Middle Earth orbit, high Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit can be found in between 200, almost 200 kilometer and 2000 kilometer. Middle Earth orbit that can be found in between 2000 kilometer and 55,000 kilometer. And high Earth orbit that can be found exceedingly greater than 35,000 kilometers. Greater than 35,000 kilometers. And the last one, lunar orbit. It is an orbit that can be found at the altitudinal extent of 384,000 kilometers. That is called lunar orbit. If you take polar orbit or sun synchronous orbit, that orbit can be found at the altitudinal extent of 600 to 800 kilometers. So this altitudinal extent must be known. Okay. So low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, high Earth orbit, lunar orbit, polar orbit. So one more term, geostationary transfer orbit is also found, that I will explain you in the next class. Besides Lagrange point and geostationary transfer orbit. So those things we will discuss in the next session, right? Types of orbit.
Sir, then what is the
Yeah, tell me.
So then what is the difference between a low Earth orbit and the polar and sun synchronous orbit?
Yeah,
Because
that I will show you. Wait.
Okay.
Again, next PPT comes.
Okay.
So just to go through this diagram. Geosynchronous orbit. So it is around 36,000 kilometers. So then sun synchronous orbit, geosynchronous orbit, and geostationary orbit, 2 orbits. Geostationary orbit, geosynchronous orbit. Take a note of these two. This is the difference between these two. So we will go into the difference between these two after a small break. கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமா இருக்கும்ல, என்னையா மனசுக்கே கொஞ்சம் சங்கடமா இருக்கு. So now the time is 11:16. So we will meet by 11:30, 14 minutes. So shall we start? Aditi, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me talk about what is the difference between geosynchronous and geostationary. So it seems like both are synonymous terms, but there is a slight difference between geosynchronous orbit and geostationary orbit. So geostationary orbit in the sense orbit that is found in almost parallel with the equator, whereby satellites revolve around the Earth from west to east. So at the altitudinal extent of around 36,000 kilometers. Now that orbit is called geostationary orbit. So the rate at which Earth rotates on its axis would be matching with the rate at which the satellite revolves around the Earth. Then can you tell me the orbital velocity with which the satellite must revolve around the Earth at its altitudinal extent of 36,000 kilometers? So it is around almost 3 kilometers per second. That is the orbital velocity with which the geostationary satellites or geosynchronous satellite both are having almost the same orbital velocity. Nanya Bayandra Kudabu. So with which the satellite revolves around the Earth. When the orbit is located very proximity to the Earth, for example, if you take International Space Station, it is having the orbit very proximity to Earth, that is low Earth orbit, right? அப்படித்தானங்களா? காயத்ரி, இட்லி சாப்பிட்டீங்களா? So when the orbit is found very proximity to the Earth, then what velocity, what orbital velocity with which International Space Station revolves around the Earth? Then the orbital velocity must have increased, So satellite goes up and up from the surface of the Earth, from the center of the Earth. Then the orbital velocity would be reduced. Right? When it is found very proximity to the Earth, then the orbital velocity must be far more greater. It is around 7.8 kilometer per second velocity with which the International Space Station or any satellite which is placed at low Earth orbit is having the orbital velocity of around 7.8 kilometer per second. In some context, it may be given in accordance with the altitude, 7.6 some cases, if the orbit is located at 200 kilometer. Something differs, slightly difference may be found. So geosynchronous satellite in the sense, geosynchronous orbit in the sense, the orbit that is found at the altitudinal extent exceeding 36,000 kilometers, but the orbit would have slightly inclined with the equator of Earth. Earth equator கொஞ்சம் inclined இருக்கும். இது வந்து அப்படியே. So if you take this as a geosynchronous satellite, it is inclined with the equator. Equator is found here, so slightly inclined with the equator. So if the orbit, high Earth orbit and equator are parallel or coplanar, they are found at the same plane. Then the orbit is called geostationary orbit. If the orbit is slightly inclined, that is the only difference, nothing else. So, slightly inclined, then it is called a geosynchronous orbit. Clear? In the same way, where a polar orbit and sun synchronous orbit are having some distinctive characteristics, some different characteristics. Polar orbit in the sense orbit which almost covers north-south trend, north-south orientation at the altitudinal extent of almost 600 to 800 kilometer level, trespassing around the Earth in a north-south orientation, pole-to-pole orientation. If it is sun synchronous, it is synchronized with the sun. Synchronized with the sun in the sense where the orbit would have slightly inclined from the polar orbit. And the time, at what time sun is overhead above India, at the same time the satellite located directly above India. Even it is moon to India, the same time the satellite would be located overhead above India. That is what the speciality of polar orbital or sun synchronous satellite orbit. So this must be known. These two, some difference that can be found in between polar orbit and the normal orbit, geosynchronous orbit and geostationary orbit, sun synchronous orbit and polar orbit. The difference between all these two must be known. Okay, Sanjay, can you move ahead? No. So this is any doubts you can ask me. Aditya, Aditi, have you understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Geostationary orbit and the geosynchronous orbit. Just to have a look of that idea. Nothing else. You don't read anything given, no, whatever things are given, no, you go gradually, slowly. No. Don't go into the complete details. Just to have the picture, just to have a look at the picture. Right? Can I move ahead? Arvindam? So then application of satellites in geostationary orbit. That's what I explained to you. So telecommunication, remote sensing. It is like it is like an eye, like a bird's eye on earth. நம்ம பூமியையே வாட்ச் பண்ணக்கூடிய ஒரு கண்ணு தான் இந்த ஜியோஸ்டேஷனரி சேட்டலைட். If you have at that altitudinal extent, if you place 3 satellites in an equispaced manner at that orbit, no, 36,000 kilometer orbit, the total circumference of the earth, totality of the earth would be, no, uncovered and circumscribed, can be watched. எங்க எத்த வேணுமோ நீங்க 3 சேட்டலைட் நீங்க பிளேஸ் பண்ணா போதும். புரியுதுங்களா? So there is a way, the system, global navigation system is aligned. Our navigation system, we might have launched 3 satellites so as to know about the location of all animate and inanimate objects that can be found anywhere in the globe, that can be explored. So that is what the way in which it is used for telecommunication, remote sensing, weather monitoring, all these purposes, these satellites are used. Low Earth orbit. So where the orbital velocity, that is what we want to know, orbital velocity of the International Space Station. So, right. So let me just to have a look of International Space Station. It is a human ecumen, space human habitat for human being at the space, at the altitudinal extent of almost 160 kilometers. So it completes one revolution within 92 minutes. Within a day, it would have trespassed its orbit 16 times, 15.5 times in a day. 16 தடவை Earth வந்து one dayல revolve பண்ணிருக்கும் இந்த International Space Station. புரியுதுங்க? So that is what we want to know. So இதனோட partners of International Space Station that must also be known. See, NASA, it is a space agency of USA. Roscosmos is a space agency of Russia. JAXA, space agency of Japan. You must know. Yeah. So European Space Agency, Canadian Space Agency. Medium Earth orbit. Right. So where Galileo Galileo navigation system must be the navigation system of which nation? Europe as a whole. Europe Space Agency as a whole is having the navigation system of Galileo. So Beidou is a navigation system of China. So navigation system that is being used by Southeast Asia, like Malaysia, Singapore, highly advanced nations, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, those Southeast Indonesia, all these Southeast nations are using the global navigation system of China, Beidou, right? Beidou. They are paying China to pay money. And Galileo, and the global positioning system of Japan. JAXA Space Agency is having its own GPS system. Nabubadi was he Zenith. So take the list of the navigation system of USA, navigation system of Europe, navigation system of Russia. So the navigation system of Russia, global positioning system of Russia, Roscosmos. What is a navigation system? What is the name of the navigation system that is being used by Russia? Very good. GLONASS. GLONASS. Come to the next class, I will ask you all these things. Nakshaya. Okay. So this is a way we can go into some discussion. Polar orbit, sun synchronous orbit. Transfer orbit, I will explain you in the next session. Types of satellites on the basis of applicability. Just to go through the types. Earth observation satellite, remote sensing satellite, spy satellite, reconnaissance satellite, weather satellite, resource satellite, communication satellite, navigation satellite, astronomical satellite, biosatellite, some animal plants in the space to conduct research with the use of satellite, they carry out some research how the plants, flora, fauna behaves in that space environment. Killer military satellites, it is especially used by defense DRDO, killer satellites, space, international space stations, reconnaissance, spying satellite, reconnaissance satellite, crewed spacecraft, recovery space capsule, some satellites that may not function at one point of time, that would be repaired by using recovery satellites. Then miniature satellite, tether satellite, some satellite that cannot be accessed directly by ground station. So, but the information that may be gathered by another satellite, from that satellite we derive information. Tether, which connects, which other satellite which acts as a link between one satellite and the Earth station. So tethering malam. So disaster management system, Earth observation, launch vehicle. the third stage. First, we talked about orbits. Second, we talked about the name of satellites. Third, we have come to almost the launch vehicle technology. And then a launch vehicle. Aditya, are you listening? No, satellite
Yes, sir.
launch vehicles, no SLV. The most primitive way of launching the vehicles, SLV technology. They are all stages are solid, having solid propellant stages. Then there is a doubt, there is a information that must be explained. What do you mean? What do you mean? Which solid is used as a propellant in rockets? Which liquid that is used as a propellant in the satellite, in the launch vehicles? So then propellant in the sense, of fuel. So solid propellant that is used, this is a satellite system which accommodates, all the three stages are filled with this solid fuel. What solid fuel? What is the name of the solid fuel generally used in the solid stage of launch vehicle? Any idea? Nasinega? Krishna? It's a liquid hydrogen. Liquid propulsion system center, malum, LPSC. LPSC is the Rima Ravindan, LPSC. HTPD. Hydroxy. Very important. Hydroxy. Tetra. Terminated. Then tetra. So terminated. Poly. Buta. Ananya gali butadiene. This is the solid propellant. Always be used in solid stage of launch vehicle. Then what might be, this is totally, it is a very primitive model of launching the satellites with a low payload capacity, right? So next stage, we started to accommodate a liquid stage. Or liquid stage, liquid propellant in a stage. 4-stage launch vehicle, ASLV, augmented satellite launch vehicle, where the satellite are having the capacity to take more payload. Hardly or 10 kg, 20 kg, 150 kg of weight satellite that can be taken to low Earth orbit, not beyond that. That is a stage, augmented satellite launch vehicle technology, where we accommodated 1 liquid stage, 3 solid stages. Okay? This all solid. This all solid. One liquid stage. Yes, போய் பாருங்க அந்த நம்ம வெப்சைட், நம்மளோட ISR வெப்சைட். 1 liquid stage இதிலே நம்ம இன்கார்பரேட் பண்ணிரோம். If 1 liquid stage, and then what is the name of the liquid propellants that are used in rocket engines? That must be known. The liquid அக்ஷயா மறைஞ்சு உட்கார்ந்துக்காங்க. ஏதாவது கேள்வி கேட்டுருவான் அப்படின்னு. அப்படிதானே? அதான் அந்த பக்கம் பார்த்தாதான் என்ன பார்க்க முடியாது. எல்லாம் எங்களுக்கு தெரியும். having 18 more than 18 years of experience. என்ன ரவீந்திரன், நமக்கு தெரியாததா? So what liquid propellant that is being used in the liquid stage of a launch vehicle? Very simply, it is nothing but hydrazine. So அதுல UDMH, simply hydrogen. Hydrazine, hydrogen nahi, hydrazine. அதுல கொஞ்சம் modified. One is UDMH, another one is MMH. UDMH is nothing but unsymmetrical, unsaturated அப்படி போட்டுறாதுங்க, unsymmetrical. D மத்திலும் no dimethyl, DM, dimethyl, DM, dimethyl H, hydrazine, hydrazine. Hydrazine. MMH in the sense mono, first M, mono methyl hydrazine, methyl hydrazine. Methyl hydrazine. MMH. Either hydrazine, simple hydrazine would be used as a liquid propellant, or UDMH would be used, or MMH would be used. These three liquid could be used as a propellant in one stage. Even in PSLV la kuda one stage, liquid stage. PSLV la upper stage must be the liquid stage. When you come to GSLV, upper stage is cryogenic propellant, cryogenic technology, where liquid hydrogen is used as a fuel. இதுல GSLV Mark 2 Mark 2, Mac मतलब speed of sound. Mach 1 அப்படின்னா சஞ்சய் speed of the rocket engine must be matching with the velocity with which sound waves trespasses within vacuum atmosphere. Around 330 எவ்வளவு speed of sound in atmosphere இருக்குங்க? 330 meter per second something. So speed of the sound க்கு so rocket வந்து அப்படின்ற போடும். So அது மாதிரி போச்சுன்னா Mach 1. So speed of the sound மாதிரி double the time போனதுன்னா Mach 2. Triple the time அடுத்து Mach 3. அதுக்கு வந்துட்டோம் நம்ம Mach 3. நம்ம இது Mars orbiter mission. அதுக்கெல்லாம் அதுதான் நம்ம பயன்படுத்த போறோம். சந்திரயான்ல வந்து நம்ம PSLV பயன்படுத்தணும். GSLV நம்ம பயன்படுத்தல. GSLV Mark 1 இருக்கு. அது ஏன் இதுல போடல? என்ன திருக்குமார்? Why didn't we add GSLV Mark 1? Technology is a technology now. Yes, GSLV Mark 1 is a technology which is adapted from Russia. Russia நம்ம கடன் வாங்கணும் Mark 1. அதை உடைச்சு புரிச்சு எல்லாத்தையும் தூக்கி போட்டு ஸ்டடி பண்ணி he created our own indigenous technology and inculcated into GSLV. புரியுதா? Mark 2 and 3 indigenous technology. Mark 2 involves cryogenic technology. Mark 3 involves semi-cryogenic technology, which is having tremendous payload capacity. 4 ton, 10 ton payload. எல்லாம் எங்க 36,000 kilometers தூரத்துக்கு எடுத்துட்டு போயிடும். அவ்வளவு கூலிங் பவர். Mark 3 semi-cryogenic. இனிமேதான் இப்ப கிரியேட் பண்ணிக்கிட்டு மறுபடியும் யூஸ் பண்ண. அவ்வளவு கெப்பாசிட்டி. Semi-cryogenic most powerful technology, where liquid kerosene used as a fuel, liquid oxygen is used as an oxidizer. Cryogenic liquid hydrogen used as a fuel, liquid oxygen used as an oxidizer. In case of solid fuel, in case of SLV3, all stages infilled with the solid fuel, then what might be the solid that would be added up with each stage as the oxidizer? Oxidizer அங்கேயும் oxidizer என்ன பயன்படுது? Ammonium nitrate, potassium nitrate. So the மாதிரியான compounds would be added up as an oxidizer. So this is a way we can talk about the launch vehicle technology. Aditi, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
So, 5 launch vehicle technology. It is having the tendency to place. That's what we want to know. Tendency to play 40 kg. Pardon. SL. Then augmented, 150 kg. It is the payload capacity, triple the time. 4 times it, 4-fold times it, its payload capacity is increased. Then PSLV. So 4-stage launch vehicle. So where solid propellant at the first stage, liquid again second, solid again third, so liquid again fourth. Now alternate fashion, liquid and solid propellant stages can be found in all 4 stages of launch vehicle. That's what we want to know. So where variants, vehicle variants. Chandrayaan-1 Mars orbiter spacecraft, 2013, or used this vehicle. கிட்டுங்களா? So geosynchronous satellite. So just to go through it. So variants. So it is having S125, S139, S125 in the sense, yes in the sense, the form of it is having the payload capacity of, it is having the total weight of 125 ton. The total rocket is having the weight of 125 ton and or 139 ton. Then it is having more payload capacity, right? The meaning. Then CS ni potrupanga. CS potrna cryogenic technology. C ni pota cryogenic. SE ni potrupanga semi cryogenic. So designed Russian cryogenic stage, used in GSLV Mark 1. So indigenous cryogenic upper stage used in GSLV Mark 2. So Mark 1 Russia technology. So we didn't incorporate into that series. Mark 1. That time. Okay. And then GSLV Mark 3. So where Chandrayaan 2, India's second lunar mission, is going to use GSLV Mark 3 M1 variant, right? So GSLV Mark 3 D2 variant. So used for launching the communication satellite GSAT-29. Right. And GSLV Mark 3 D1 variant. So that is used for launching GSLV GSAT-19 communication satellite in the geosynchronous transfer orbit. So GSLV Mark 3 is chosen to launch Chandrayaan 2 spacecraft. Right. These informations are required. So difference between liquid propellant, solid fuel rocket. So liquid propellant is more efficient, more calorific value it offers to the rocket engine. So the efficiency would be the most, right? So when you come to the solid propellant, it's efficient. Its calorific value is fuel calorific value is very low. So the pulling power, thrust, and the momentum gained by the rocket would be very low. There is a difference between these two. And when you come to the difference between cryogenic and the semi-cryogenic technology, difference between cryogenic and semi-cryogenic technology, in the sense where when you come to liquid hydrogen, can you know about the harm or that is some disadvantages that are found as far as handling liquid hydrogen is concerned? You know what the disadvantages? storage la enna problem, what problem, the preservation of or the that, storing of liquid hydrogen la enna problem. Maintaining very low temperature is a problem where you go to if you are manufacturing liquid hydrogen one point of time. So until it's the utility, after 1 year or 2 years, you have to maintain the temperature for which you have to bear more cost, right? That is only one thing, right? So then what is the most important reason as far as handling the liquid hydrogen is concerned? Most important tedious process as far as handling the liquid hydrogen is concerned. Highly inflammable, okay. It is highly harmful for human being. If you directly come into touch with even a small droplet of liquid hydrogen, it is highly hazardous. So your body would be burned highly. That kind of harmness it is vested with. So that's why handling of liquid hydrogen is very tedious process. But no, in the present day context, we are using in the semi-cryogenic technology where we are involving liquid kerosene. Kerosene, if you touch kerosene, nothing will happen. It is not harmless. No? It is not harmful. One. The second one, you can store the liquid kerosene as a liquid in the room temperature itself, where you don't go for any huge investment as far as maintaining the liquidity of kerosene is concerned. It doesn't involve any expenditure, no. So, and it is having huge calorific value when we compare the calorific value offered by liquid hydrogen. So that's why we have shifted towards the utilization of semi-cryogenic technology, right? So that's what given here. So just to go into this context. So this is what you said, unified launch vehicle technology. So expendable launch vehicle technology. So replace all the launch vehicles, PSLV, GSLV, and GSLV Mark 3. All the launch vehicle would be replaced by only one launch vehicle called unified launch vehicle technology. Right? So it is having cryogenic engine, which is having the tendency to lift 200 tons. 200 in the sense 200 tons of weight it can carry. So in the அளவுக்கு it is having the pulling of payload capacity, right? So Gaganyaan program, so where we use this semi-cryogenic engine technology. So this is a way we can go with the space technology. It is around nearly half of the part of space technology came to an end. So take a question in your fresh page. How can you use the existing space technology? How can you use the existing space technology in the sustainable development of India? Aditi, are you writing?
Yes, sir.
Existing space technology in the sustainable development in India. So 15 marks and 21 minutes. 21 minutes. No, now the time is 12. I couldn't write. Why? No. Now the time is 12:15. Right, 12:15. 21. Add 21 minutes so that you will get 12:36. No, you're supposed to complete the writing by 12:36. Right? So 21 minutes. No, sharply watch. So complete. So whatever you know, you add. So after that, I will discuss with you. Whatever you know, whatever you brainstorm yourself, you write, you try to write. So I know about you. 225 words. Writingla 225 words and 21 minutes. Whatever we studied, whatever we studied as for satellites, launching satellites, placing the satellite at space, how we are using that technology for our own development. That is what you have to correlate. When you launch OceanSat, where you can study about the prospects of ocean resources, fish promising centers can be identified. So accordingly, you can enhance the livelihood of the people, those who are living on the shoreline. Am I right? We can create some awareness among the people so as to go for their fish promising regions. We can guide them so as to go towards that fish promising region, so that their livelihood would be taken care. Am I right? So you think that way, how we can use the satellite technology for disaster management, disaster warning, weather forecasting, so that you can save the people, save the environment, save life and properties. That's what they you think.
So 215 words exactly.
Okay. என்ன காயத்ரி 120 உங்களுக்கு என்னங்க நீங்க எல்லாம் நல்லா பேசுறீங்க, வேர்ட்ஸ் தான் வர மாட்டாங்குது. கேர்ள்ஸ் வந்து பொதுவா நிறைய பேசுவாங்க தானே, என்ன சினேகா? பாய்ஸ் எல்லாம் அடி 200 கிராஸ் பண்ணி நிக்கிறாங்க, நீங்க பார்த்தா இப்படி வந்து நிக்கிறீங்க. என்ன அர்ச்சனா? How many words you use? 150 115 எல்லாம் அக்கா தாங்க எங்க மாதிரி ஒரே ரேஞ்சுக்குள்ள இருக்கீங்க. So right, fine. Okay. The thing is, here the question, how can you use the existing space technological advancement in the sustainable management of India or sustainable development in India? There are two components. One component called sustainable development. The another component is technological component, right? Space technological component. So space technology, how can you harness the existing space technology? How can you harness the advantages that can be accrued out of existing space technology, used for your own upliftment, your own development, your own sustainable growth? அதுக்கு வந்து எப்படி நீங்க அப்ளை பண்ணுவீங்க அப்படின்றது, ரைட்டுங்களா? ஸோ அப்படி that is what the idea. So எழுதுறப்போ something ஏதாவது brainstorm பண்ண முடிஞ்சதா? Could you brainstorm yourself? Could you explore something within you? So என்ன aspectல explore பண்ணீங்க கிருஷ்ணன்? What do you mean? Then you want to know about what do you mean sustainable development. Aditi, can you define what do you mean sustainable development?
So that is using your resources in a more aware manner. So you're developing, but you're also thinking about
wait, Krishna, I will come. Sustainable development. Yeah, Aditi, what do you say?
So that's using your resources. Using your resources in a very much aware manner. So you're not wasting it and you're using it efficiently. So you're developing, but also keeping resources for your future generations.
So listen, when you go back around 50 years, 25, 30 years, no, 30, 40 years back, now if we talk about environmental degradation, so as far as the recovering measure of environment, the recovering measure of rescuing measure of degraded environment, we used the term called environmental management. Environmental management. So if anywhere water resources are not used optimally, where we used the term called water resource management. Water resource management. So in the present era, in the present day scenario, we are not using the term, we are not affluently using the term management. Am I right or not? Rather, use the term sustainable development, sustainable management, sustainable agriculture. Am I right? We use the term, we are not using the term agricultural revolution. We are not at all using, rather we are using the term evergreen revolution. We are using the term sustainable development. Sustainable development goals. So அந்த மாதிரி terms தான் நம்ம இன்னைக்கு காலகட்டத்துக்கு. This is an era in which we are using the term sustainable management of resources. Now, when you go into ocean resource management, where we use the term called sustainable development of ocean environment. So then what do you mean sustainable? So mere management, how far deviating from sustainable? Sustainable use of existing resources. That is the way we use the term. Sustainable resource management, sustainable use of existing resources. So sustainable development. What do you mean it really? சும்மா அப்படியே கடந்து போயிட முடியாது. It is having its own meaning. என்ன திருக்குமரன்? என்ன பூபதி? Bhubadi, can you say something about sustainable utilization of resources? Sustainable use of available genetic resources. செலவு குறைச்சிக்கணும் பாக்குறீங்க என்னங்க? It is having profound meaning. என்ன அரவிந்தன்? Yeah, we have to allocate something. We have to care about the future. Future யாரு? நீங்க தான் future. இப்ப யூஸ் பண்றவங்க யாரு? நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ண போறது இல்லை, அப்படிதானே? இனிமே தான் நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ண போறீங்க. You are going to use the benefits. You are going to accrue the benefits, hereafter. The existing generation, whoever might be, use the existing resources efficaciously and efficiently without debilitating without debilitating the capability of harnessing resources by future generation. வரப்போகக்கூடிய சந்ததிங்க அந்த ரிசோர்ஸை பயன்படுத்துறதுக்கு எந்த தடையும் இல்லாம நீங்க எப்படி பயன்படுத்தினீங்களோ, இன்னைக்கு இருக்கக்கூடிய existing land, existing agriculture resource, existing environment, existing urban system, whatever the arena might be. So where you are allowed to harness and utilize that resources efficiently and efficaciously without debilitating the capacity of the future generation to harness and utilize optimally whatever the resources you utilized in the present day scenario. இன்னைக்கு நீங்க என்னென்ன பயன்படுத்தினீங்களோ அதெல்லாமே பின்வரும் சந்ததிகளும் எந்தவித குறைபாடும் இல்லாம பயன்படுத்த விட்டு வைத்தீங்களானால், that is what called sustainable development. Understand my idea? No, not my idea. No, it is a global idea. So where we are talking about sustainable development. So then how can you use the existing space technological advancement as far as attaining the sustainable developmental goals of India? That is what the intent of the question, intention of the question. நீங்களும் பயன்படுத்தணும், பின்வரும் சந்ததிகளுக்கும் அதை விட்டு செல்லணும். எந்தவித குறைபாடு, any deterioration, without having been created or triggered any deterioration. So to allocate the pristine nature of the resource as it is, உங்களுக்கு எப்படி அது முழுமையா விர்ஜினா புனிதமா கொடுக்கப்பட்டதோ, that must be அதுல எந்த குறைபாடும் இல்லாம ஃபியூச்சருக்கு நீங்க விட்டுக்கிட்டு போகணும். That is what the intention. How possible when you use space technology? If you understand this idea, you can go. Yeah, we can know if forest is dwindling either illegally or through some natural means. Natural means how forest cover would be depleted. What are the various natural causes which are responsible for depletion of forest? Enna Akshaya? You talk, you are a leader, you are going to become a leader. Enna Gayatri? இன்னும் அப்படியே இந்த பொட்டி பாம்பு மாதிரி you should not behave like, go to MR, you have a posture, you have a body language, the body language itself should ooze us out your leadership quality. அப்படி வந்துகிட்டே இருக்கணும். That is what the way, we are in this path. இதுதான் you are going to groom yourself, next 2 years, 3 years, 3 வருஷம் இருக்க போறோமா அப்படின்னு பயந்துராதீங்க. It will take 3 years. What are the various means through which the forest cover would be dwindled, either through natural causes or through man-made? Natural causes, forest cover would be dwindled. Forest fire, forest fire through which the forest cover may be depleted, that can be assessed. Amazon forest பத்தி பிடிச்சது இல்லைங்களா? So that can be assessed, that can be identified. It can be identified, the area through which the forest fire goes on. So that would be protected so that the spread, the fire spread, cannot expand, cannot inflate towards the adjoining region. No, that can be assessed, that can be identified, recognized through remote sensing satellite technology. Am I right? Avudana? So that forest cover would be saved, environmental protection, environment management, forest integrated forest management can be implemented effectively and efficaciously, so that future generation that resource can be availed. So இன்னைக்கு அதை பாதுகாத்துட்டீங்கன்னா you can allocate the resource as it is without debilitating the reproducing, recuperating characteristics of the existing resource system. எந்த விதத்திலையும் அது தன்னவே forest எல்லாமே expanding on its own. You are not going to grow plants around Amazon or around the Congo. They are growing spontaneously. But you are the most potent reason, potent entity as far as dwindling the forest is concerned. So அது நாசமா போறது காரணம் யாரு? நீங்க பாதுகாத்துக்கிட்டீங்கன்னா அந்த ஒரு ஆக்டிவிட்டி, அந்த ஒரு எண்ணம் நீங்க கொண்டு வந்துட்டீங்கன்னா, so that existing resource would be preserved as it is, so that resource would be allocated as it is for the future generation even. So that the sustainable development of India would be taken care of. That is what you have given in that resource assessment. Its extent, it's whether it is on the verge of extinction or it is growing well and good manner. That all can be assessed through remote sensing technology. So either through remote sensing technology or through resource sat technology, right? So correlate பண்ணலாங்களா? So then what else would you speak?
For example, small parts in Chennai. All stormwater and all the rainwater that comes அங்க ஒரு மாதிரி அப்சார்ப் பண்ணி நம்மளோட கிரவுண்ட் வாட்டர் லெவல் நார்மலுக்கு தண்ணி எல்லாரும் பாத்துக்கிறாங்க.
You can speak a lot, as far as sustainable development and how space technology can be used in sustainable development. So when you go into the urban system, the most important problem is that the indiscriminate depletion of groundwater table. Is it so? So அது நீங்க ரீகூப்பரேட் பண்ண முடியாத அளவுக்கு கிரவுண்ட் வாட்டர் டேபிள் இஸ் டிப்ளீட்டிங். So that rate of depletion of such groundwater resource can be assessed through satellite technology, so that you can implement the regulatory measure, you can implement the recuperatory measure, or groundwater replenishing measures can be implemented in the urban system by using that resource assessment. So that you can implement as a rule, where you can rainwater harvesting system as a mandatory system everywhere within urban system. That rule can be implemented, so that groundwater table can be recuperated. So whatever the water resource that is allocated for your generation would also be allocated for the future generation if you implement the rainwater harvesting technique in the urban environment effectively and efficaciously. Is it so? பண்ணலாங்களா? So அதுக்கு எந்த டெக்னாலஜியை நீங்க பயன்படுத்திக்கலாம். It is a vast aerial extent where you cannot go measuring the existing groundwater table through manually பண்ண முடியுங்களா? என்ன இருக்கும்? Even not only groundwater table, you can oil resource that can be found beneath the interior of the earth, and the mineralogical wealth mineralogical wealth that is found, coal resource, and other mineralogical wealth that can be found beneath the surface of the earth, all can be accessed through remote sensing satellite. Where you can go with appropriate resource inventory, you can go with appropriate monitoring the resource exploitation, resource mining. You can monitor, you can go with inventory, you can go with some exploitation, effective exploitation of resources. All can be implemented through space technology. So that paves the way for, ultimately paves the way for sustainable development in India. Is it so? Then what else would you speak? Where, listen, if you're going to agriculture in the era, you might have heard about the most modernized agricultural technology called precision farming. Have you ever heard about the term called precision farming? Precision farming. Aditi? Precision
No,
farming.
so not heard about it.
What is it? You might have known about permaculture. You might have heard about evergreen agriculture, sustainable agriculture. So, do you know precision farming? You are learning in this platform. You may have 500,000 cattle at your native. You want to feed them. You want to milk the cattle. You want to make the cattle to be cleaned. From here, from this platform, you can operate wherever your cattle shed is found. Wherever your estates, coffee estate or tea estate, if you want to water your agricultural field, if you want to water your market gardening, whatever it might be, all agronomic activities can be carried out in a time-based manner, systematic time-based manner, can be carried out with the use of your Android mobile. If the mobile is connected to the satellite system, for which present era we are using precision farming. From here, you can manage a cattle shed in British type climate. If you have 500 cattle of Jersey at Britain, Hamburg of Germany. So you can go with that. You can earn income. So that is what precision farming, where you can use the satellite technology. That paves the way for sustainable development of India. Is it so? Amavalia. You may be busy with some other activity, but your agronomic activity would be taken care of by satellite technology, space technology. That you can add up. Enna Sanjay? Thukam varudha? Pasika arambichirudilla? Pasiku. So what else would you speak? In terms of disaster management, impending disaster, disaster that can be assessed in precedent to the disaster, so that you can go with the appropriate forewarning of cyclone. Every pandringa Orissa more than 2 lakh people are evacuated from the shoreline. How in the present era, last 10 years, you are going with that kind of activities. You are evacuating the people before the impending disaster, before the infliction that is being going to be, that is being happened before cyclonic inflict. People are being evacuated. Cyclone become futile. So that are being carried out, where you are protecting the life You are protecting the human being, protecting the livestock, protecting the properties. Timely with the advent of space technology. Am I right? From technological innovation in space. That is what the way, you can, you have to be, you have to be elevated to the level, you think like a leader. அப்படி வந்துடணும். இன்னும் குழந்தை மாதிரியே வச்சிட்டு இருக்க கூடாது. To groom ourselves, we have to inflate ourselves in terms of knowledge, in terms of thinking, in terms of brainstorming the idea. So மெதுவா groom பண்ணணும். After 1 year, the same day, the next year, how your mannerism would be, how about your body language would be, how much quantum of leadership quality that oozes out from you. Let me go to, let me see that. Totally different. So then what else would you speak as far as sustainable development in India, in relation to space technology? Yeah, phytoplanktons, So you can assess the living planktons. You can assess the non-living resources, living resources of ocean environment, so that you can guide the fishing community drive towards the appropriate fish prospering region or fish promising region, identifying the fish promising region. So அது மூலமா அவங்கள டைரக்ட் பண்ணி அவங்களுக்கு நல்ல வாழ்வுக்கு, அவங்களோட வாழ்வாதாரத்துக்கு you can facilitate, that paves the way for sustainable development. தானே ஸ்னேகா? As a collector, you are having fishing community on the shoreline, you can guide them. This technology can be inculcated or implemented, and you can guide them. Their livelihood would be taken care of on everyday basis. That paves the way for sustainable development. Then what else? In terms of internal security of India, if you want to live in this environment amicably, peacefully, so your border nation must be protected. Your border, that sanctity of your border, sovereignty of your border must be given prime importance, right? That can be protected. How? Through remote sensing satellite, where many perforations can be found, through which people are invading, people are penetrating into the interior of land so as to debilitate the existing law and order of India. Out of which, if you find out, if you recognize those people, those infiltrants in an appropriate time, by using satellite technology or spy technology or reconnaissance satellite, you can identify the people and you can go with the killing, go with the sweeping up those kind of militants, out of which you can protect the interest of India. So that paves the way for sustainable development. Am I right or not? அமைதியா வாழ்ந்தா தானே நீங்க உங்களோட முன்னேற்றத்தை பற்றி நீங்க யோசிக்கவே முடியும். ஆமாவா இல்லையா? So law and order of India can be taken care of. Then what else? Let me complete. So we can go in that way. We can think. I have given some food of thought. கொஞ்சம் யோசிக்கலாமா நீ? போக to be in the state of inquisition, or of inquisition. Think pananum. Read the newspaper. Think about it. Brainstorm itself. 2 or 3 people agglomerate together. Having same mindset. Agglomerate together and think about one idea one day. Think about one idea one day. Come to a conclusion. How far? How the main point of question can be derived. How the preliminary point of question can be derived. In that way, you yourself can brainstorm. You don't wait for the faculty to support you. You yourself. Read newspaper, come up with one idea. No. So every day, one idea you brainstorm yourself. One idea. Create yourself. Create a mains question in mains point of view, right? For 15 marks or 10 marks. No. Hardly 14 minutes. 14 minutes. Tremendous miracle, no, happened within you. 14 നിമിഷം എഴുതി പാരുங்க ரைட்டுங்களா நஸ்னேகா என் சுகமாயிட்டேன் படிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு ரைட் see you Aditi.